Now, ladies and gentlemen, as they're leaving, I need you to look at your neighbor and say, fasten your seatbelt. Look at your neighbor. Tell them to fasten the seatbelt. Because coming to the stage right now is somebody that I personally know. This man is an author. He is the founder, CEO, head man in charge of Dare to Share, which is coming to the Pepsi Center next year. The one thing that I love about this man that I can honestly tell you right now is that not only does he talk about being a revolution and change, but he himself is a revolution, and he's real, and his heart is so on fire for the Lord. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't just help me welcome, but help me honor Mr. Greg Stier.
Rachel. How's everybody doing? How are you doing? All right, I got a question for you. How many of you guys have a spastic, out-of-control friend? Let me see your hands. Are they here? Point to them if they're here. Are they here? How many of you are the spastic, out-of-control friend? Yeah! I had a spastic, out-of-control friend growing up in junior high and high school. His name was Art, and Art was my friend who was really funky looking. He's really big, really small head, really big arms, really big body, really small head, about the size of an apple. And he was really light-skinned. We used to call him the albino rhino. And Art was the guy always playing the practical jokes on you, you know? Guys, you be thinking you're cool, playing hoops, you know, and there's some girls that show up and you're showing off. Art's the guy that sneaks up behind you, grabs your shorts, and whips them down to your ankles. Always doing stuff like that. One day, Art and I were at the Westminster Mall. Man, that used to be the happening mall. Westminster. I was there with Art. I was in high school. I'm outside the movie theaters. I'm looking at the movie posters. I'm like 15 years old. And I'm checking out the movies. A hot summer's day. Had a tank top on, had shorts on, you know. There's a long line of people getting tickets. A lot of high school girls. Any high school girls in the house? High school girls? All right. There's high school girls there. You know, I'm 15 years old. And it doesn't matter who you are, guys. If you're 15, 16, 17, if you're 89, if you're a guy and if you're around a girl, you start flexing. Even if you got nothing, you're flexing, you know? I'm like, now those movies look good, but so do those. Matter of fact, girls, if you're sitting next to a guy, grab his bicep right now. He flexed, didn't he? It's his way of saying, me, Tarzan, you, Jane, deal with it, baby, all right? It's a guy thing. So I'm looking at the movies, the movie posters. I'm like, I like those. No, I like those. No, I like those. Art standing behind me, hot summer's day, got my shorts on. All of a sudden, I feel this draft. And I hear this laugh, you know. Instead of pulling up my shorts, so I tried to run, which wasn't good, you know. Art's always doing stuff like that. So I graduate from high school. He graduates from high school. I go off to college. He goes off to the Army, Special Forces. This guy was intense. He worked out really hard while in the Army. The problem is his head did not grow at all right? He gets out of the Army. I get out of college. We start doing construction work together. One day, we decide we get off work early. I said, let's go see a movie, man. So we go to the movie theater. We're there at the movie theater. About 15 minutes early, I said, man, I got to use the bathroom. So I get up and I go in the restroom, the public restroom. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like using public restrooms. Anybody in here not like it? I don't like it. I don't like it. You know why I don't like it? Because there's other people in there and they freak me out, all right? Public restroom, I'm there, and there's a lot of pressure because there's other people in there, and I notice there's another guy in the bathroom, just me and him. He kind of looks like me, which really freaks me out. Same kind of jeans, same kind of T-shirt, same kind of haircut. He goes to the wall. I go to the stall. Now, some of you girls don't know what I'm talking about, all right? Well, listen, it's our little guy secret, okay? All you girls got secrets. We always see you girls with secrets. Oh, I got a secret. You might, listen, us guys got a secret too. It's called the wall. And if you know what the wall is all about, shame on you. Shame on you, all right? So he goes to the wall. I go to the stall. Now, when I go to the stall, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of these little stalls. And I got a lot of pressure. I got to pick which one. It's like going into a new neighborhood, all right? With all these little houses. And you got to pick which one you're going to live in for the next few minutes. So I pick one to make sure nobody's home, right? I walk up to my little house in my little neighborhood, and there's a little door. And I open the door, and there's a chair, all right? I shut the door. I lock the door. I sit on the chair. I look out the window. The crack in the bathroom stall door, right? Well, I look out there, checking it out, seeing who's coming into the neighborhood, you know. Every once in a while, we see somebody coming close to our door, and we think, they're going to try to break into my house. So we use our natural God-given alarm system, right? We cough, which in bathroom speak means back away from the door. This house is occupied. Has anybody ever had anybody break into your house? Anybody just open it up? Hi, how you doing? Awkward moments in my life. You know, it's weird, all right? Again, I don't like public restrooms, but the guy's at the wall, I'm in the stall, everything's cool until the main bathroom door opens. And I see an apple-sized head come around the corner. It's Art. He's got a goofy look on his face. Remember, big guy, small head. Shuts the door. He starts sneaking across the bathroom floor, and I know he's going to play a practical joke on me. But I got him. I see him through my window. He's not going to get me. But then I notice he's not coming after me. He's going toward the guy who looks like me, who's at the wall and, shall we say, preoccupied. I think to myself, I'm watching him. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. I've got to stop him. I've got to stop him. Then I think, there ain't no way in the world I'm going to stop him. This is going to be awesome. He gets right behind this guy, starts to shake him. What in the world do you think you're doing in here? And he turns the poor guy around and says, you're not my friend. And the guy ran. He left a trail we could follow. And I'll never use a public restroom again. Something is sneaking up behind every single one of us. Something is sneaking up behind every one of us, and out of the blue, that something is going to grab us and turn our life upside down. And it's called sexual temptation. And I am concerned that we live in a generation of Christian teens who more and more are saying yes to sexual temptation instead of resisting the urge. I want to talk to you about this battle we're going to have today with this unseen foe that can sneak up behind us at any time. But before I get too far into this talk, I want to let you know, we're going to be talking about sexual temptation, but I want you to remember this. Sex itself is good. Can I get an amen? God invented sex. He made it to be exotic and erotic and romantic. There's an entire book of the Bible devoted to it called the Song of Solomon. Don't turn there right now, you naughty boys and girls. Don't do it, all right? Some of you are saying, really? Well, let me check it out. No, listen. There's a whole book of the Bible. Listen, it's made by God. Sex was invented by God himself for a husband and a wife. And I want you to remember that as we talk, because God made sex good, but Satan has twisted it. We're going to talk about sexual purity. And we're not just going to talk about one kind of sexual purity. I'm not just talking about keeping yourself from sexual intercourse. I'm going to talk about sexual purity on every level. Oral sex, being pure on that level. Making sure your hands don't go on the body of a member of the opposite sex or the same sex in order to sexually stimulate them or arouse yourself. I'm talking about purity in its purest form. And believe it or not, tucked away in the Old Testament, there's a great story about a teenager who showed us how to stay sexually pure in the midst of temptation. His name is Joseph. I want to read his story out of Genesis 39. I want you to listen to this story because Joseph was 17 years old at the time. Now, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered. He lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household. He entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and of all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So he left in Joseph's care everything he had. With Joseph in charge, he did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns, he's entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you because you are his wife.